In this video, you're going to learn how to build a website using Go. Let's get started. First, let's check if Go is installed on your computer. Open your terminal and run the version command. If you see a version number, Go is installed and we're good to go. If not, visit the official Go website, the link is in the description. Download it for your operating system, install it, then restart VS Code and try the version command again. If it works, great. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments. Now let's create a new project folder and navigate into it from the terminal. We'll initialize a new Go module to start our project and then create our main file. In Go, every application starts from the main package and the main function. Let's begin with our first example. Here, we're creating a very simple web server. We import the necessary packages for formatting output and handling HTTP requests. Then we define a function that will handle the homepage. When someone visits our site, this function sends back a simple HTML response that says, "Hello world." Inside the main function, we connect the root URL to our handler function, print the local address to the terminal, and start the server on port 8081. Now let's run the project and see what happens. When we open the browser and go to the local address, we see "Hello World" on the screen. And that's it. We just built our first web application with Go. Now let's move on to the next example and make it more interesting. Alright, now let's level things up a little bit. In this example, we're still building a simple web server, but this time it's interactive. That means the user can actually send data to our server and will respond dynamically. Just like before, we have our main package and we import what we need for formatting and handling HTTP requests. Nothing new there. The magic happens inside our home function. First, we set the content type to HTML, so the browser knows we're sending back web content. Then we check something very important, the request method. In simple terms, we're asking, is the user just visiting the page or are they submitting the form? If the request method is post, that means the user submitted the form. So we grab the value they typed into the input field, we take that name and dynamically create a response that says hello to that specific person. Then we also add a backlink so they can return to the main page. But if the request is not post, which means it's a normal visit, we simply show the HTML form. The form asks the user to enter their name and click the button to send it. So basically, one function handles two situations. If someone visits the page, show the form. If someone submits the form, greet them personally. That's real interaction happening between the browser and our Go server. Now let's run the project and see what happens. Open your browser and go to the local address. You'll see a simple page asking you to enter your name. Type something like Schofield or any name you want and click send. You'll see a message that says hello followed by the exact name you entered. That means our server received the data, processed it, and generated a custom response. And when you click the back button, you return to the main page with the form again. So now we're not just serving static text, we're handling form data and creating dynamic responses. That's a big step forward. Awesome work. Let's continue with the next example and build something even more interesting. Alright, now we're building something even more fun, a simple counter application. This time, at the top, we define a variable called count. This variable lives outside the function, which means it keeps its value while the server is running. That's important because we want our number to increase every time we click the button. Inside our home function, we again set the content type to HTML, so the browser knows we're sending web content. Then we check the request method. If the method is post, that means the button was clicked. When that happens, we increase the count variable by 1. After increasing it, we redirect the user back to the main page. This is a clean way to refresh the page without accidentally increasing the counter again if the user refreshes the browser. If the request is not post, meaning it's just a normal page visit, we display the current value of the counter along with a button that says increase. So every time the button is clicked, the server updates the counter and reloads the page with the new number. Now let's run the project and see what happens. Open the browser and go to the local address. You'll see counter 0 on the screen, and it keeps going up each time you press the button. That's it, a working counter powered by Go. Simple logic, real interaction. Great job. Now let's move on to the next example and keep building. Alright, now we're going to build something random. Literally. In this example, we're creating a random number generator inside our web application. Just like before, inside the home function we set the content type to HTML. Then we check the request method again. If the method is post, that means the user clicked the button. When the button is clicked, we first seed the random generator using the current time. This is important because it makes sure we get different random numbers each time instead of the same number over and over again. Then we generate a random number between 0 and 99. After that, we send that number back to the browser wrapped inside a simple HTML heading, along with a backlink so the user can return to the main page. If the request is not post, we simply display a page with a title that says random number and a button labeled generate. So the logic is simple. Now let's run the project and see what happens. Open the browser and go to the local address. You'll see the generate button. Click it and you'll instantly see a random number on the screen. Click back, generate again, and you'll get a different number. That's it. Let's continue with the next example and keep building something even cooler. Alright, now we're turning our app into a mini calculator. In this example, we create a simple form with 2 input fields. The user enters 2 numbers and clicks the add button. When the form is submitted, we grab the values from the inputs and convert them from text into integers. Because remember, everything coming from a form is text by default. After converting them into numbers, we simply add them together and send the result back to the browser. We also include a backlink so the user can return and try different numbers. If the page is open normally, without submitting the form, we just show the form with 2 input fields and the add button. Now let's run the project and see what happens. Open the browser, enter something like 5 and 10, click add, and you'll see the result displayed on the screen. The server takes your input, processes it, and sends back the calculated result instantly. Alright, let's move on to the next example. Alright, now we're building a simple to-do list application. At the top, we define a slice called tasks. This slice will store all the tasks we add while the server is running. Since it's defined outside the function, it keeps the data in memory. Inside the home function, if the request method is post, that means the user submitted a new task. We grab the value from the input field, and if it's not empty, we add it to our tasks slice. Then we redirect back to the main page so the updated list is displayed cleanly. If it's just a normal page visit, we first display the title, then loop through all stored tasks and show each one as a list item. After that, we show the form so the user can add a new task. Now, let's run the project and see what happens. Open the browser, type something like Learn Go, and click add. You'll see it appear instantly in the list. Add another task and it shows up right below the first one. And just like that, we built a working in memory to-do app with Go. Alright, let's continue with the next example. Alright, this is our final example, a simple login system. In this version, we create a basic login form with a username and password field. When the user clicks the login button, we capture the submitted values. Then we compare them with predefined credentials inside our server. If the username is admin and the password is 1234, we display a success message. If not, we show a login failed message. After that, we provide a backlink so the user can try again. If the page is open normally, without submitting the form, we simply display the login form. Now let's run the project and see what happens. First, I'm going to enter the wrong password and click the button. As expected, I see a message saying that the login failed. Perfect. Our condition is working. Now I'll enter the correct credentials. I click login. And this time I see the success message. That means our server checked the values and approved the login. And just like that, we built a simple login logic with Go. If you want to continue learning programming, check out the courses section on the channel. You can follow many free courses there. To support us, you can join the channel and subscribe. Keep learning, keep building. See you in the next video.